Greetings, Earthlings. Does the Pelagos 39 give us pretty much everything that we've been asking for? Yeah. Does that make it a little bit boring? Sure. But at the same time, does it not make it absolutely balls to the wall awesome? Yes, it does. I have been wearing this for about 8 months now, so I figured, why not throw my hat in the ring and share my wearing experience with this watch, because the world needs nothing more than another dude sharing his opinion about a watch. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and start with a couple of the measurements on this thing. The case diameter, excluding the crown and crown guards, comes in at 39 millimeters. The bezel comes in at 40, so it overhangs a little bit. That just makes it incredibly easy to grip and use. I absolutely love that. I measured the lug tip to lug tip at 46.6 or 46.7 millimeters, so it's a little bit under the 47 that I see quoted a lot. The lug width or strap size of this watch is 21 millimeters. The thickness of this watch comes in at 11.8 millimeters, including the case back and the crystal. When the watch is sized up for my 6.5-inch wrist, which uses a half link from Uncle Straps, it weighs in at 104 grams, and the movement in this watch is the Tudor MT5400, which I did make a dedicated video on if you want to check that out and learn more about what's inside this thing. Here is a quick shot of the watch on my 6.5-inch wrist. I'll go ahead and rotate around so you can see the side profile and understand how it sits on the wrist. Sits pretty close. Rotating around to the back, you can see it does have quite a large buckle. It also has that fold-over security clasp, which has the Tudor shield engraved on it. Rotating back so you can see the side profile again. Let's make sure we're focused. And then here is the dial one more time on my 6.5-inch wrist. Now here is a quick lume shot of the watch. The first thing you'll notice is that the bezel is fully lumed. You have great orientation on the dial because the markers at the 3, 6, and 9 are different from the 12. And then you have those snowflake hands which have an amazing amount of lume. At nighttime in the dark, this thing is just a dream to use. You can tell the lume is just fantastic. Now let's go ahead and do a couple of size comparisons of this thing. First up, we have a classic G-Shock square so you can get an idea of the scale of this, how it looks next to a watch that you're likely familiar with. That is the G-Shock square. Jumping over to another popular watch, this is the Seiko 5KX. 42, 43 millimeters. I can never remember the sizing of it. I should look that up. There you go, Seiko 5KX. Jumping to the Orient Komatsu. This is the Pelagos next to the Orient Komatsu. Hopefully that is helpful. And the last watch we'll compare it against is the Black Bay 58. So the Pelagos 39 against the Black Bay 58. Hopefully that is a helpful comparison, and now you have a better understanding of how it looks. Here is a close-up shot of the dial. You can really see that sunburst effect, but if you get it in just the right light, you can see that it has a kind of texture which is really nice. Most of the time it comes across as just a deep black, but if you catch the light just right, you do get that sunburst sunray effect. Here is a close-up of the bezel to really show off that brushing. In certain lights, it does come across as black or dark gray, but if you get it in more direct lighting, it can get a bit washed out and almost look like a light gray. So because of the finishing and the materials, you get a big variation in how the bezel looks depending on the lighting that you're in. Also, the hour markers on this thing are made of solid blocks of lume, so not only does that make the performance outstanding in that department, but it also gives some nice depth to the dial and gives you a nice 3D effect. Now I'm just going to share what I've liked and what I've disliked about the watch over the last 8 months. The first thing that I like about it is the fact that it is legible legible, legible. This thing is incredibly easy to read. My eyes are bad, they're getting worse, so I need that. The snowflake hand makes it so easy to differentiate between hours and minutes. The orientation, thanks to the hour markers, is great. It is just super easy to read for a broken-eyed boy like me. I love it. It is also incredibly comfortable on the wrist, and that comes down to two factors. The sizing on this thing is darn near perfect, just under 47 lug to lug, 39 mil in diameter. That is perfect for my 6.5-inch wrist. The other factor that leads to it being comfortable is the T-Fit clasp. It allows you to adjust on the fly without the need for a tool. And actually, there's a third thing. It is incredibly lightweight, 104 grams for a metal dive watch. That's incredible. So it is just really nice to wear on the wrist. The bezel action on this thing is also fantastic, and the fact that the bezel extends 1 millimeter outside the diameter of the case makes it super easy to grip and use because I use the bezel to time stuff every single day. That is just a huge quality of life benefit for me. The accuracy on this thing has also been absolutely bonkers. After 8 months of nearly daily wear where I do not baby it, I put it right next to massive guitar cabinet speakers, studio monitors, microphones, I'm wrapping cables, banging it on stuff. It is still averaging about 1 second a day. I have never encountered that on any of my other watches unless it's quartz. The movement in this thing is fantastic. They did such a good job. And the last thing that I love about this is the lume. The lume is awesome. Those blocks of lume not only perform well, but they look incredible because they give it a bit of depth. They make it look 3D. It is so cool. And then the bezel is lumed too. At night, this'll keep you up. This'll be your nightlight. It'll scare away the ghosties. You don't got to worry about anything coming out from under your bed. It is awesome. And then as far as what I didn't like about the watch, I know a lot of people complain about how long the clasp is, and yes, it is long. It's about 51 millimeters, so it's longer than the watch head, but I didn't have any issues with that over the last 8 months. But if you have a wrist that's smaller than 6.5 inches, I think that's going to start to become an issue because that is a massive clasp. I also dislike the fact that it has a 21 millimeter lug width. That just limits the straps that I could use with this thing. I had to go and buy special straps for this watch. I tried them for a couple of days and then I just reverted back to the bracelet, so I didn't sink too much money into it. The watch just works so well on the bracelet that that's pretty much what it's lived on for the last 8 months. Talking about the bracelet, I don't know why, but none of the Tudor dive watches fit me perfectly out of the box, and for the Black Bay 58 and the Pelagos 39, I have had to buy a half link from Uncle Straps, I think they're called now, to get it to work right. That's just a bit of a disappointment. I just wish they included a first-party half link to ensure that anybody who gets one of these is going to be able to find just the right fit. The last thing that I disliked or maybe was on the fence about is the fact that all the metal on this thing has a single finish. I understand exactly why they do it. This is more of a tool watch, so chances are it's going to get beaten up and abused quite a bit more, and because it doesn't have any high polish areas on the metal, it is going to mask scratches quite a bit better than something like the Black Bay 58, which has a lot of high polish areas. I just find it a little bit boring when I'm looking for something a bit fancier. I know, a Pelagos 39, why would you wear that if you want something fancy? It's a tool, you dope. I'm just sharing what I think and my experience with it. So, yeah, that's it. Laugh at me if you want. So what are my final thoughts after wearing this watch for the last 8 months? I think it's just an incredible tool watch. It is legible and easy to read. It is accurate. It is comfortable on the wrist. It is understated. It's everything that you want out of a tool watch, except maybe the inclusion of a date. It does everything that you need and nothing more. Is it the most exciting watch to ever be made? No. Are people going to lose their minds over it? Well, I guess they did, but no, probably not. Nobody's going to be running around with their hair on fire. It's the sexiest, most groundbreaking watch ever. but it serves a purpose and it serves it well. And that's why this made it into my collection and why I'm going to wear it for years to come. It's fantastic, if not a bit boring. But boring's okay, isn't it? Your wristwatch doesn't always need to be flashy. It doesn't always need to draw attention to you. Sometimes your wristwatch just needs to be a wristwatch. And that's what this does oh so well. It's a wristwatch. There's nothing more. That's all right. That's all that I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, thumbs up. Hated it, thumbs down. I will talk to you on a later date whenever I decide to make another one of these videos. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Whoa. Boop.